gonna do it! I'll aim to win!
I erase all who oppose me.
Let's get rolling.
Heading out!
I'll be your opponent.
Guess that's it!
Thanks for coming. Wow.
Let's show 'em what we got!
I erase all who oppose me.
Let's get rolling.
Bring it on! That was fun!
Thanks for coming. Whoa, great!
I just want to state that I'm grateful for receiving the SS Plus weapon a few times, twice back to back. But we're going for that attack weapon. Made this whole account for this attack weapon. So when you want to see it, you can get your fix. Just for all the attackers out there.
I'm gonna win this thing!
I erase all who oppose me.
Don't fall behind.
I'll be your opponent.
Let me help!
That was fun!
I'm watching this shit from that Mr. Japan guy on YouTube. He's like, man, some of y'all good. Some of y'all nigga. I get it though, because it's like y'all from the same country. It's like everybody there, it's like your cousin or something. And you're tired of being at the fucking family reunion. He's tired having to marry his cousin or his sister's shit. Because it's like, it's not another, you know, like land connected to them. Violet brittle.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Lots of work, right? It does.
Hey God, I was like, you know, the whole American thing. Man, not so sure. Should ever be getting married to somebody from the state, because like we live so close. Could be related.
I think living with someone is so hard. It doesn't matter, he's Japanese or she's Japanese or he's American or she's whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just difficult to live with somebody.
Like keep it, you know, whatever it is. Like, risky.
Have you ever heard someone say Japanese people are emotionless? Yeah, I mean, I think it's true. Because again, on a social contract is that never bother other people, right? So like, you don't talk to strangers.
Got a minute?
The only time you talk to people is when you're supposed to.
Yeah.
So let's say, if you're paying someone.
Hey God, Japan owns most of our debt. It's the United States. If you live in this country, Japan owns most of the debt that you have. Period.
Let me at him!
See, like, alright, here's the thing. Where you live versus like here, where you live on an island, it's not that big. No, I've seen it. Word.
But on stranger, like,
Hey,
if it's
God.
a stranger, I say nothing.
Some people travel, and they'll be like, it's
Avoid
different.
eye contact at all costs. I don't want to look at any Japanese
It's a
eyes.
lot different.
I don't want to. This is social construct. I just look away. You know?
Yeah,
I like it.
I'm not trying to marry his sister.
Japanese culture, however, expressing emotions directly and intensely is not as common. This doesn't mean they don't have feelings. It's just that they don't show them in the same way we are used to. For example,
Yeah, so like in psychopaths, they establish that them niggas don't even eat real food, cuz.
That's my answer.
Ready for this?
What they're thinking, you know?
casually saying, I love you.
You see her apartment,
From this point,
and it's just this fucking empty room, cuz.
missions with me.
Or
We'll
like
be
her
a team
food,
of hidden
she's
ninja
having like porridge,
equals.
and then it becomes a
But
steak or
before we
something.
turn our attention to that, I want you to show me how much you've grown. Anything goes.
You need to go watch
You just have
Psychopaths.
to steal this bell from me.
This is the
Look at
same
her
thing we
apartment.
did way back when.
But it isn't
just
gonna
fucking
be as
empty
easy
room.
this time, Kakashi-sensei!
I don't know. I feel like that's also changing, right? A little bit? I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. What kind of impression I get.
I'll finish this in one go!
When
No way I can lose this!
Okay. Time to get a little more serious.
Do your best.
Okay, I don't have that.
Good work. But now, it's time to get serious.
Yeah, some people. Test this out with it.
Let me out!
Huh? Just like went straight to nothing.
I'll finish this in one go!
You three have really gotten strong. I can't believe you actually managed to steal
Oh
the bell.
shit.
Maybe I'm even stronger than you now, Kakashi-sensei!
God, what? Looking so conceited.
Anyway, I'll be counting on you from now on.
Yeah, they sure do. Tell you when some bullshit's happening.
This stems from a deeply rooted mindset of saving and planning for the future in Japanese culture. Japan has faced significant economic hardships.
I see.
He's gonna talk about this.
Go to Connie's apartment. And it's like nothing in there. It's just this empty fucking room.
Earn money. You will give everything to your wife.
Everything's like
And you get
generated, cuz.
that's
Everything.
Japanese tradition.
Her whole room is generated. I don't even understand how she stays warm in there. Cause it's like
Housewife and working.
it's not even painted, cuz. Looks like a jail cell.
They will give their whole salary to their wives. That's the
Like they waterboard somebody in there.
They do that.
They go over the whole, like she's taking a shower. Like, man, ain't no water hit her, cuz. What are you talking about?
Focus on saving financial planning. Additionally, Japan can be challenging. It does not
She don't even got a toilet in there, cuz.
Yeah, my problem with the young people today in Japan is that they don't have enough money to retire, man. Like, and they will always complain.
They go over this where, like, yeah, their illusions they use.
They don't make money. They don't have enough investment.
Not even eating real food.
And they want to retire early. And we have
Where their crime coefficient is like just having free will, cuz.
how is that possible
Oh,
in our country in the future?
like, nigga, what job? They got robots to work for you, cuz. They got robots to be the police, right? I mean, what are you talking about?
That's the best we can do. Gradually become I think, to me, you know, if we can avoid sudden collapse.
I don't know, it'll be like, you know, what's your crime coefficient? You're violent. Like, why are you supposed to go to the river and fish?
carefully plan their finances. The idea of unforeseen circumstances and having a solid emergency fund is highly valued. This contrasts with
Yeah, with their whole dominator thing, where it's like, you know, you could just, like, cool the fuck off.
less concern for financial future. This attitude towards money also reflects Japanese culture.
I mean, many people want to save money, but today's young people,
Alright, they have it with this one guy.
money, man, when they're in their 30s, 40s,
Where his crime coefficient is like it's high for them.
they don't have a family, they don't have kids. How did they?
But there's this character
Have no save. How they don't have any
where,
savings,
like, you know,
man.
this shit,
Crazy.
it just like it breaks it.
Several kids, then yeah, sure, right?
It's basically like he's not malicious enough to give a fuck. He's just selfish.
Japanese companies are known for their long-term planning, often thinking
Selfish.
this can seem overly cautious to us, accustomed to a faster-paced, short-term results-oriented business environment. Furthermore, the concept of mandai, which roughly translates to no waste, is deeply ingrained in Japanese culture.
It's like it's a fake
Tasting all forms
whole apartment, cuz.
It is common to see Japanese people
Her whole house is just fake.
use of their belongings instead of simply buying goods.
Yeah, I don't want to buy new ones too, right? Because I don't want to spend money. That's what it is, man. I don't want to spend so much money on stuff like anything, man. I don't want to spend. Yeah, that's why I don't do oshikatsu whatsoever. I don't understand the idea that I will give people money for what? I don't get it. I just don't understand oshikatsu.
Doesn't work one aspect that can be shocking to us Americans is the Japanese work ethic. In Japan, work often comes before family, which can be difficult to understand for those who
But many people don't have the family, man. That's not even thinking.
Do.
No? Yeah.
work-life balance. Dedication to work is seen as a virtue. In some cases,
Man, if I could find this one little clip.
it is common to see people working long hours, far beyond the workday. This commitment to work is deeply rooted in Japanese culture. This can significantly
So it's for you.
I don't think that's true. I don't think many people work as long as they used to in Japan.
Criminally asymptomatic man.
Now, let's say work starts 9 a.m. When do people have to get ready for work, right? Okay,
destroy planets, nigga.
let's say walking up to your nearest train station and taking train and walking to your company office, that's gonna take like, I don't know, let's say another hour, right?
We call it the shippy or whatever, something like that.
You're gonna have to wake up around
Yeah, I know them niggas.
possibly, and you're gonna have to around 7:30 and
yeah, I know them whole ass niggas.
at your office on time. You're gonna be there.
Cause like what I think that it is like, you know, if your apartment ever stopped being generated, you'd be pissed the fuck off.
Okay, so you wake up around 6 in the morning. What about after work? Okay, you work and there's a 6 p.m. right? And then you walk to your nearest place. Yeah, you take a train and go back to home, right? That's like 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. Okay, you make dinner, and now it's let's say 8 p.m. Okay, dinner 8:30.
I don't know, it's like I can't imagine you talking too tough with that dwindling population. That's my only, you know, we've established that.
That's a life. Monday through Friday. And we're only talking about night. What about
We've established
it's not like they're working
all that yakety yak.
so much. They're like it's not like that.
Good work.
Do anything else. That's
Yeah, cause you got old China over there. We're trying to make this about me, cause you got, okay, it's China.
The concept of karoshi, or death from overwork, is a real issue in Japan. This has led to discussions about the need for labor reforms.
Yeah, it's China.
people talk about this, but I think it's getting better in Japan so much. I mean, compared to like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, Japan, especially working culture, is
Look,
just
where's this shit at?
it was so awful. Now
Where's the GIF?
it's kind of better now.
They had the image.
Change is slow due to the
I'm like, you didn't think this hologram shit was gonna backfire, or somebody's gonna do something illegal and like put a hologram up?
leaving the office loss. We're taking all entitled vacation.
Or you could just have it generated as like whatever the fuck you want.
This culture of intense work is gradually
But you have to recognize that it's not just boss, right? You know that, right? Also, coworkers, they'll blame you. It's like, hey, I can't take my days off, and you're taking days off. Screw you. So it's not about.
So like to have anything in there that's real.
Days off for vacation. Everybody else in the office are watching you. Basically, it's like, wait a minute.
Or like, hey, remember, Akane, all your food is like generated.
That's because
It's a hologram. She eats holograms, like plankton.
that comes from your boss.
She's plankton, nigga.
Cases that comes from your neighbors.
The chum bucket.
True, right? That's why
Like holographic meatloaf again.
against each other. They're workers. They're not friends, man. They're not friends. They're at each other's throats. This is happening. It's not just a boss telling people to not take days off, but he should know. Coworkers. Not money.
Apartment hologram.
especially among younger generations. There is a growing movement for better work-life balance, though it still lags behind the standards we consider normal. Rules and morals Japan is
I think it's getting better, man. I think it's getting better in Japan.
country with many social rules, which can be
I
surprising.
mean, this is Kingdom, right? This is famous Kingdom. Sure, Kingdom. No,
Dark as fuck.
guys, this is Kiyomizu. It's famous text.
Clothes a hologram and shit. Food's holographic.
Japan, Kyoto.
Like A cut, you know.
Guys, don't go there.
She don't even have lights.
It's not fun, man. I've been to this place twice. Once, maybe 3 times, but let's say twice. Once, when I was 12 years old. That's like 20 years ago. I went there. Fired up! The difference between them. Oh man, when I was 12 years old, this place was empty, guys.
a witness to your bullshit.
I could take pictures. It was awesome when I was, 12 years old. Last summer, man. When I went back.
Just say, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, you're full of shit.
It's no fun. Because it's like a train, a rush hour. This place is awful now.
Hey, you're generating your room with a hologram. Don't you want a little too much? That's like pretty greedy, right? Like, sheesh.
It's awful now.
すまない。男はこれからも人を殺め続けるだろう。
Your crime confession's gotta be crazy if you couldn't do that. Right?
I can't lose this one.
Yeah, that hologram generator controls that crime confession, huh?
Hey, what are you doing?
You can't holographically wear clothes that you don't
You
like.
should have come 30 minutes early.
Like, what are you talking about, cuz? Look at the creature comforts you need
Today,
to live.
two of the
You
most
think?
powerful people in the village are going to train us. Let us go all out and fight until we drop.
Like, yeah, that's what makes you happy, huh?
And please do not go into the deep part of the forest.
Fake
It is
ass.
extremely dangerous.
Room.
Now then, let us begin our training.
Just
Are you ready? Okay, we are counting on you
having
two.
design.
Please help us train.
So, are you ready to
Yeah, the
begin?
whole, like, having to eat all the rice,
Whose
cuz.
monkey has
Like,
arrived? I'm ready to help you train for real, bushy brows.
like, alright, well, you know. Just, like, save it for later.
Hey, ready? Let's go!
Need some rice in that. I'm not gonna eat all of it. Man, this stuff causes bulging, cuz. I'm not even supposed to eat rice, cuz.
I will be doing it on my own.
Not that way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna eat all the rice and prepare it this way. That's the only way.
I knew we would be in for a real
You don't have
fight.
to make it into a Rice Krispie.
But our training is not
I'll
over
eat
yet.
it, no question. Need my rice prepared Rice Krispie style.
Teleportation jutsu! Whirlwind!
To get a little
Yeah, you can't be watching them AI.
Let's turn up the heat!
leave it to me. Looks like I blew it.
We live on the same planet. That's about it. That's my thing with this. Please.
Teleportation jutsu!
Looks like I blew it.
I knew you.
I am on fire!
It's a little delayed.
That is the end of our second training session. I will be fine on my own. It was a tough fight, but Guy Sensei would only laugh at me if I were to give out here. Okay, time to get pumped up for our next battle. Hey! I will be fine on my own. Leave it to me.
Teleportation jutsu!
I will be fine on my own. I will be fine on my own.
Teleportation jutsu!
Impressive. Well then, guess I'll get serious now too.
We are definitely gonna win this! No matter what! Over here.
Basketball club. What are you talking about? Women.
Hey, that's the spot! Hey, that's the spot!
I cannot believe we made it this far. Wow, great work. All right, next comes our final spar. Leave it to me. For our last bit of training, Naruto is going to call out someone special.
Anything else?
Yeah! You seriously summoned me just so I could help you out with your training? So weird. I think it's good to get special.
Leave it to me.
Nice try.
How dare you!
Teleportation jutsu! Teleportation jutsu!
I will be fine on my own.
Teleportation jutsu!
Not too shabby.
Shit.
I'll finish this in one go!
We did it! Wow! I was really able to feel myself grow as a result of this training. Well, let us keep on honing ourselves, okay? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Nigga, I'm left-handed. I have this thing. Weird culture. Some of y'all, you're like, you're too stuck with traditional instead of like, you know, I don't know, outdating the tradition, I guess. Maybe modernizing the tradition. Or, you know, maybe you don't do that traditional thing anymore. Maybe you have a new tradition. Like, not talking about what's the new tradition. It's just normal, but it's like, you know, excuse me.
Yeah!
Oh God.
I am counting on you.
I got the rappers. never said otherwise, cuz.
Great! Great!
And also, another thing I found interesting is that I think maybe it was not that video, but I think another video about this topic too. But the thing is,
Yeah, the helm, but like, you know, the hawk, where it changes the game completely. Yeah, I'll take a normal, low-level ninja hawk. You have to have this cultural change. This is what it is with y'all. We have it in our country, cuz. Everybody has it. We're a culture. Change it. It's like, it has to change. It's good that it change. Well, you're the one that's like, hey, your war culture is just like not friendly to Japanese people. And our country had this, where we had the Industrial Revolution, and you know, like the workers' rights you would have and stuff. For a lot of people, it's like financial. They want you. They want these unreasonable things. Hitbox.
Hey.
The hitbox code, the hitbox. Cause we had a whole civil rights movement in our country. What are you talking about? Big cultural change. Where's like your music scene?
Nice try. Listen, shortcut.
Goes pretty far, man.
Teleportation jutsu.
Broken arms.
Over here. How about some of this? That's the spot.
Be like black. Called his dad. He called Pete his dad. Pop.
Hey!
It won't be like. Obvious. Can you imagine if Naruto was like trained by B from the beginning? Like, man. Whoa. B was just there from the start.
Nice try. Teleportation jutsu.
B is the only person.
Too slow. That's the spot. Nice try. Over here.
I didn't get the Kakashi scrolls on. Did not receive it. Yeah, we're like making stuff. Treason. treason. Don't be a traitor. Prime Minister, cuz. Oh, bro, I know that was tough. You can only get it with a valuable minimum. Quality. I see what to get an S. There are A's though. Quality. Get one of you. Come on. Can't get myself. Top.
I'm counting on you.
Yeah, the whole, those Kegel things you call them, whatever. It should give you prostate cancer, cause it like enlarge your prostate. You're like training your fucking prostate. You've been squeezing too much, and your prostate's gone crazy on your ass. You've been like working the muscle out, right?
Yes.
You've been doing all these prostate exercises, and now your prostate's all swole, right? Huh?
American
You've been working
most
out
of their food
and
and
the shit
equipment falling into a
swole,
ravine.
nigga.
Manners spoke about the ordeal.
We've been climbing for 6 days. We were pretty exhausted, but we had some adrenaline because we really thought we were getting closer to the top.
Manners spoke on ABC's Good Morning America. Wow. Global news 24 hours a day and whenever you want.
Where's the ticker go?
I'm Michael Barr, and this is Bloomberg. Tom.
Where?
Thanks so much. David Gura stealing Jessica Menton's thunder. Gura out with a map, steel theft from Torsten Slack, Apollo Global Management, on utilities and use of data center power consumption. And basically, it's out west, except Virginia.
Right.
Jess Menton, what is it about Virginia?
I mean, that's the $1,000,000 question. I mean, if you look at the utility sector in general for this year alone, a lot of that's been powered by the data center type segment in that particular group. So actually, if you look year to date, the utility sector is the third best performer. It's actually up around 25% this year. Not surprisingly, probably behind
Did
tech
institutions participate, or is this all like meme retail?
No, this is actually, you're seeing hedge funds and institutions jump in. So not just a retail type trade. And positioning shows that too. So right now it's getting a little bit stretched on the utility side, but you've been seeing that for a few months now in utilities.
So what you do, folks, is in the old days you go to the letter D as in David, and that is Dominion. I think it's Dominion. Let me maybe they took this. Yeah, Dominion Energy. That's just what you looked at was Dominion, and they did a pop here, coming off of this. And what's the basic theme of your article? The pop's over.
Well, it might be one of those things because going into a Fed cutting
trees and
cycle,
stuff,
usually
God.
utilities perform best the next 6 months, but that might be a little bit different because you've seen this front run. So that's why you might not see it continue for the next 6 months. That's just because there's been such a tremendous rally.
I
that particular
misspoke. Up 41%.
Right.
That's more than a pop.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Okay. Look for that from Jessica
be doing that
Mann, folks.
shit, cuz.
Out on Bloomberg. It's going to be some interesting work on the utility sector, which I didn't participate in.
If you didn't do it, but like, did you go stop
futures
them,
up
cuz?
20. Bloomberg surveillance.
Did you speak up about it? You can't sit on the sideline with this shit, cuz. You can't do it. It's more, you have to be like, you have to actually do something about this, cuz. You need to be talking about this shit.
So where is the compassion and constitutional rights for these women who
There's nothing
just
more
wanna-
important than this treason shit, cuz
Of
I mean,
Hurricane
look
Milton
at
continues after the break.
Look at what they're doing, cuz. You're gonna be like, you're right to blah blah blah. Like, look, nigga.
New
You're
Lego
letting
Star
traitors
Wars.
even have a platform. That's insane.
New Lego.
Yo, just whenever. Let's be sure now. Was that the moon? Like, look, I mean, some shit. I don't think you're smart enough to be launching anything into space in the first place. And, you know, you can disagree. That's fine. It's okay.
That's no moon. You may be referring to the Death Star if you're a Star Wars fan, but in the terms of our night sky, you may be referring to asteroid 2024 PT5 that it has officially entered Earth's gravitational pull here earlier on Sunday, and it's not going to hit the Earth. It poses no...
Not so sure about that one. No, you sure? You mean unseasonal? Look, I don't really feel like doing this cold shit.
They are in touch with the White House right now to make sure disaster
stopped
aid
shoveling snow a
resources
while
are
ago.
in place and ready to go when necessary. That includes moving thousands of pounds of food and water here, along with search and rescue teams. Army Corps of Engineers have been mobilized. Criswell also responded to questions about misinformation going around, saying that FEMA does not have enough money or resources for hurricane recovery efforts from Milton.
FEMA
Here's her
sure
response to that.
didn't have resources to
I
give me a
have
job.
plenty of funding to support the ongoing efforts for Hurricane Helene and the preparatory efforts and the initial response efforts for Hurricane Milton. And so nobody needs to worry about us not having enough money to support that, and no money has been given to any other department or agency from this fund. It is purely dedicated to support the life-saving needs that we need to do, and that's what we're going to do.
Mandatory evacuations as
They
we've been
will
saying
lie
all
to
morning
you
are in
the
effect
whole way
in
down,
County for
cuz.
zones A, B, and C, and any mobile or
What was your
manufactured
Steve Bannon guy
homes.
like?
That's more
He
than
wanted to destroy the
500,000
country.
people, and more than half of Pinellas County. Let's get to David Connor with Pinellas County Emergency Operations.
voting
Joining
base.
us live. David, thanks for being back with us again this morning.
Good morning.
This is tough for Zone A for a lot of these people. That
The waterworks.
Finds himself in a really tough re-election bid, and he is now saying that his office is re-evaluating some alleged new evidence.
week ago that we were hearing from Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis there. Freeways in Florida, they're packed at least one direction ahead of Hurricane Milton. We've had around a dozen counties under evacuation notices. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis also saying that tolls have been suspended throughout western and central Florida to assist with these evacuations. And the shoulders are also being used, those extra lanes to keep the flow of traffic moving. A lot of moving parts this morning as we look at Hurricane Milton. The latest advisory still has this as a powerful category for Hurricane Marissa. When we see this, the pressure up just a little bit this morning, but it's still forecast to become a Category 5 later this afternoon.
Already reaching a Category 5 intensity. Yeah. And by the way, the Saffir-Simpson scale stops at Category 5. After that, it just becomes, 157 miles per hour plus.
And a strong Category 5, which you never hear.
No, do it like death, suicide, right to die shit. You could just live in Florida.
In about a 12-hour period, while we were on air with so many of you, we saw it go from a Category 1 yesterday to a Category 5. I've never seen anything like it. It is truly remarkable, and it is scary. We are expecting some weakening, so intensifying back again, but then hopefully we can encounter enough wind shear and dry air to help it weaken. However, storm surge, Stephen, not related to the category it is, and that will still be a very dangerous threat.
You hear us talk about it all the time, and this is a prime example. The Saffir-Simpson scale has its limitations because it is a wind scale. Yeah. It doesn't account for heavy rain that we're going to see, which has recently been upgraded for the peninsula of Florida. We've got a stretch from Tampa to Orlando where we have now a level 4 out of 4 threat for excessive rain. This is the same threat that we saw in western North Carolina. I'm not making comparisons, but I'm simply saying tropical systems bring extreme amounts of rain. So, and a Cat 4, Cat 5, you don't account for the heavy rain. You don't account for the storm surge. But the thing that this is generating, the fact that this is generating Category 5 energy in the Gulf of Mexico, that's going to be translated as this storm moves a little closer. Unfortunately, a worst case scenario playing out possibly for Tampa in the Bay.
Well, because you talk about the surge, right, which could go up to, 15 feet, I think, at its highest surge forecast. And then you talk about maybe a foot of rain. So in addition to dealing with the incoming ocean
we have the Chesapeake Bay over here.
You have also rain trying to run off.
About?
And so that could also really exacerbate the threat that we're looking at in places like Tampa, Sarasota, and such.
What is it? You run from the water and you hide from the wind. Yes. But sometimes when you're dealing with that surge moving in and the fresh water that is falling, it's a worst case scenario. When you look at the different impacts, storm surge, by far and large, when we talk about tropical cyclones, which feature storm surge threats, it's the deadliest aspect of a hurricane. And that could be the case with Hurricane Milton. I mean, if evacuation orders are heeded, then we would be spared any deaths because of storm surge. However, folks that are deciding to stay, folks that might not have any other means, but an important time to mention that if you're in a county with a mandatory evacuation, the Division of Emergency
What a terrible situation for you. You know it's about being a tree. It's about being a traitor.
Of a lot of these structures also.
Man, what a great way
members
to go out.
Wondering.
And they're like, they don't give a fuck.
Are you guys
what is this?
Guess what?
Hey.
Guess what? My 40 years of practice, I've never had kind of a phalanx of victims who have all signed on to say, enough is enough, we want them out.
Here this morning, you saw that we also checked in with our
freezing cold. Goddamn.
We saw that really flights are just not going into Tampa or out of Tampa at this point. We know the airport there expected to close later on tonight, and then Orlando International Airport will close tomorrow. So everyone preparing for the storm here in any way that they can. Now, if you are just joining us, I want to go over some of the latest stats here. As we saw, Milton did kind of weaken just slightly, and I keep saying it sounds weird to say that because it is still such a powerful storm. But as far as those maximum winds, now at about about 145 miles per hour. You can see it on the XRAD radar right there. Yesterday, we did see gusts that were reported by the hurricane hunters there of more than 200 miles per hour. Landfall at this point still expected to take place along Florida's Gulf Coast. The storm slowing down just a bit there, so it's now going to be Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Very likely to hit in the early morning hours of Thursday. But as you know, those bands are going to get here a lot sooner than that. We're going to see a lot of rain start. The winds will pick up. It's going to be very difficult. So if you are under that mandatory evacuation, you need to leave. We do have this shot right here that is coming in from one of our traffic cameras. This is from the Florida Department of Transportation. It's actually out of Naples, but it shows you folks are crowding the roads at this point. They are heeding those warnings and getting out of there.
I don't think you should ever do
with the
inflatable
Hillsborough
stuff,
County, Florida
personally.
sheriff a bit earlier. That's the Tampa area, who said the roads are very slow going, but that it's a good thing because it means that people are heeding the warnings. Again, a live look coming in out of the Naples area. We are going to head to our final 2-minute commercial break of the hour here at 8:53 on the East Coast and 5:53 on the West
This
Coast.
is the stuff.
If you're watching live now
Deflatable.
from Fox,
Where it needs like
Our
a
unique American
heavy
innovation
layer on the
ecosystem,
outside.
especially IP, protects innovators.
That rats are more likely to chew into garbage bags when they know there's food inside of them. But not everyone's on board with this plan. For one, there's the fact that it's mandatory, and while fines won't start until next year, the idea of punishment for not chucking your banana peel correctly strikes some as government overreach. Some budget hawks doubt the program will pay for itself. But the most vocal opposition comes from, wait for it, environmentalists. See, when you think of composting, you think of your neighborhood garden, where you send all your food scraps and leaves and you turn them into a rich brown soil. They're actually organic items you're not allowed to dump in there, by the way. Bones, rotting meat, they won't make good soil. The reason you're allowed to dump them now in NYC compost bins is because soil isn't really the point. Under massive programs like this one, most of that waste will not get turned into dirt that you could plant something in. Rather, it gets churned up into this liquidy slurry. Some say it resembles crab bisque that can be converted into liquid fertilizer or, more commonly, gas for powering homes. You could replace some less clean power plants with this. And while that's better than any landfill, these advocates say it's all come at the expense.
You can't.
So there's a team of reporters and meteorologists that are going to be located in Milton's path to warn and also document the storm every step of the way. Stay with us here. Fox Weather. We'll be right back.
You like to call it a nor'easter or some bullshit, right?
Good morning, Texas.
The whole fucking city just gets like annihilated, and you're like, trying to give me a copyright claim. Come on, G.
But the CEO of Half Moon Empanadas has
This
never
is it,
left
huh?
anything half done.
They said they wanted a piece of the moon because they said they were going to destroy the moon. They were going to kill the moon. They said they were going to Commander Zhao your shit, cuz.
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice sale. Why pay more for the same weights at other gyms when you can save tons at Planet Fitness? Save 20.
In storm surge we could see here on the island, the projections have
Just
been
take the Planet
staying pretty
Fitness weights home
consistent
with
with
you.
6 to 10 feet of storm surge on Sanibel, and we know very much what that's like following Hurricane Ian, where we had a surge of 8 to 12 feet. So people are preparing their homes and getting ready to evacuate the island.
And we can pick up some permits right now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, permits are available at the police department today until 12.
Sure,
We're hoping
like,
to extend
set
that till
the
4
lock
p.m.
alarm
because
off
the storm has slowed down a
all
little
the time.
bit. But residents
You're
will need
like,
to show
yeah, you
proof
get,
of residency here
when
on
you don't
Sanibel
set the
or on
lock alarm off, you'll be
Okay, and what
mad.
do we need to know about the checkpoints?
So tonight there'll be a checkpoint. The curfew goes into effect at 10 p.m. and there will be a checkpoint set up at the toll booth. And after
What, cuz? I mean, I'm not supposed to feel bad for you. It's kind of the point here. That's what you get for being traitors, man. Shh. Planet Fitness, Monk Alarm. Yes, I acknowledge that book. Where they're clear about this, that if you like betray the justice system, democracy and shit, after you swear to God that you wouldn't or something, they'll like, you know, send a fucking storm to blow your shit the fuck down, nigga. That's a tradition. They blow your fucking shit down.
Major hurricane.
And there's another one on the other side that they're not talking about for some reason.
Storm for portions of the west coast of Florida.
They're like, yeah, cause this other storm
because it makes it sound like it's not such a powerful storm.
The Atlantic Ocean.
4, we're talking, you know, winds of 145 miles per hour. Is there a possibility that it does get back to that Category 5 status before it does eventually weaken a little bit and then make landfall, or does it appear that it's going to continue on the trend that we've seen over the past several hours?
Well, I think we can certainly see additional fluctuations in the intensity forecast. As these storms kind of go through their cycles, that could mean that the storm gets a little bit stronger. Or it weakens a little bit. I don't think any changes would have a substantial impact on the ultimate outcome at this point for our area. So it's certainly not out of the question that it could get stronger again. It's still a very strong Category 4 hurricane, and to see it increase a few miles per hour wind speeds wouldn't be unreasonable. But ultimately, yeah, we're going to expect some fluctuation changes one way or the other over the next day or so.
Can you talk about the importance of not necessarily just paying attention to that cone of uncertainty and the category strength? Because we know that you could see a Category 1 storm that is incredibly strong, and you can see maybe a higher-end category storm that has more rain that comes with it. So kind of explain why it's important not to focus just on
talking
that.
all that bullshit.
Yeah, you know, for a
and
long
they
time,
tried to hang the vice president.
You know, we've kind of been very focused on the wind component of the storm because, you know, the wind speeds that a hurricane produces are really unrivaled by any other weather system that exists on the planet. And so I think there's this natural inherent scientific tendency to focus on that component of things. However, that's only one piece of the impacts. And, you know, one of the problems is if you just focus on the wind speed, you're missing all of the other impacts that can come from a storm. And a storm like this approaching the west coast at this trajectory has the potential to bring life-threatening storm surge, heavy flooding rainfall, and in the case of this storm, we're expecting both of those things to occur as well.
Yeah,
you know, along and north of the center of the storm,
take them too long.
There's going to be a substantial amount of rainfall, 10 to 15 inches, as high as isolated areas of 18 inches, and along and south, 10 to 15 feet of storm surge is the maximum. But really, everywhere along the west coast, along and south of that center track, you're going to see impacts from the storm surge. So just focusing on the wind definitely does not convey the full scope of the impacts that a hurricane can bring to a community.
Is it this common to have the track really not change that much over the past several days? I feel like we've been watching as the center is kind of focused there on, let's say, the Tampa area. And of course, the cone is getting smaller, but it still looks to be focused in the same area. So is that normal to see where there hasn't really been any kind of major shift?
So
it's like,
the
why
forecast has been
are they asking them?
And, you know,
like, it's not their job to know this shit.
There certainly was higher degrees of uncertainty early on.
Shouldn't he be like, well, don't you
And
think?
when you look at, say, the day 3 track,
Wouldn't you agree?
It averages somewhere in the 100 to 150 mile range from where it actually makes landfall.
Cause shit happens
but
like all the
when
time. There was just a
every storm's
hurricane,
little
cuz. What are you
different.
talking
And
about?
when the patterns,
the
the weather
fuck?
patterns that are influencing storms are,
Nigga,
are
what,
quite
like on the
consistent
exact same path,
and
cuz.
locked into it does make it a little bit easier to track the ultimate forecast. But as you mentioned, there's still nuance. There's still subtleties in the forecast that absolutely could adjust where the storm ultimately goes. You know, it's
they had a
important
hurricane
not to
like
focus
last
on
week.
that pure where's kind of the center, if you will, of the forecast cone, because the cone represents the error and the amount of uncertainty that does exist. So there is definitely still uncertainty there. But yeah, generally speaking, we've been able to keep the forecast pretty consistent from cycle to cycle.
Right, yeah, it's a monster and historic storm there. Austin, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Anything you want to add here before I let you go?
Well, I think a big thing for sure for our coastal communities especially is if you're asked to leave, you need to leave. this storm is life-threatening. And we just saw what 7 feet of storm surge can do with Helene in some areas, 7 to 10, even higher up across the Big Bend region, and still 3 to 4 feet even across Southwest Florida. And folks in Southwest Florida have Ian as a recent memory as well to look at how dangerous the storm surge piece is. So I can't stress enough that it's important to leave if you're asked to do so. And for those who are staying, ideally you're in a location that's away from the water, a well-built, sturdy structure. Ideally you have 7 days worth of supplies. Ideally you have multiple ways to receive weather alerts. Because all of these things are going to become very challenging once the storm makes landfall. So those are definitely big things. We don't want people to be scared necessarily. We want people to be prepared. So if you're choosing to stay, we hope you're ready. And if you've been told to leave, please do so.
All right. Austin, thank you again for taking the time to join us here. Please stay safe out there. I know you are over in the Tampa area, so we appreciate you taking the time. And yeah, be safe.
Yeah, right in the middle of it.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, I do want to take you out to some of the live cameras that we do have at this hour. You can see things are not looking great over there in Naples. The rain is really coming down, and it looks like the wind might be blowing. If you look off to the left-hand side of your screen, nothing too intense, but that tree definitely blowing around there. Again, the rain kind of piling up over on the camera. And I do want to stay in the Naples area with this other traffic camera we have. You can see things are slow going, not just because it's raining, but also because folks are heeding the warnings and evacuating. Looks like some folks there are headed down 75 over toward the Miami area. We will, of course, keep you updated as we see more and more of these cameras on Live Now from Fox.
In
the meantime,
they cut into that, and it's like it's not. Yeah, look at them.
Live team coverage on the other
so
side
what these
of
cut
this,
y'all niggas doing, cut? You see
that
truck cut like that, cut?
As we see this monster storm
you've been in traffic, you know what it's supposed to look like.
Down a category or so, but then it may regain some of that strength.
Pennant steer. They got you in a pennant steer cut.
The earnings, growth projections that we continue to see.
Yeah, there's always crypto trading.
Further than what we have seen earlier in the year.
Make sure I'm back my crypto.
Earnings growth that is
with some look cut. The point is that
the overall the rebound of what we call
y'all ain't gonna make it, cut.
It is giving a very nice tailwind for unemployment because in a certain way by having healthy earnings,
yes, cut EFA.
Making enough profits that obviously maintains the unemployment.
It's almost a $2 cut. Like I told you how this shit was gonna go. This shit could jump back to $10.
We welcome all of you across the nation, particularly to Charles Schwab San Francisco. With us, Omar Aguilar of Charles Schwab. We're going to continue with him.
So I bought
with Sonali Bassick and Ray Dale. You'll look for that on Bloomberg Digital later today. With me, Jessica Menton with Omar Aguilar.
Because they do international business.
You brought up earlier, Tom, about the bull market run in the S&P 500. I wanted to point out the 2-year anniversary is actually this Saturday on October 12th. That's when the closing low for the S&P 500.
What are you? Is this a job interview for Schwab?
No.
I
was going to say
the S&P. You know that, Omar.
The S&P 500 is up close to about 60% over that span here. And so at this point in this cycle, and especially when you see the broadening rally in the third quarter, not just with the stocks, but then also when you're looking at earnings growth
bought 100 of these.
Now obviously we're getting
I
third quarter
didn't have
earnings.
money
What's your
like that.
expectations moving forward is where we're at in the cycle here?
Well,
I don't think this is going to plateau because like I bought it.
Pretty interesting, and we have a lot of funds which probably missed that point.
Has your shit been like getting, I don't know, like erased from fucking existence? Aren't you the one talking about you want to mine my resources? What's wrong with y'all, cuz?
We discussed earlier about the
I understand you're delusional, G. But like, people have to own these things, man.
For a hard landing, for a bumpy landing, and we seem to be now going into this phase of the economic cycle where the likelihood of that we can actually smooth out without necessarily having a very clear landing is more clear. That's certainly what the bond market is pricing. That's certainly what equity markets seem to be.
Talking about you're going to nuke some shit,
bottom line,
huh?
Omar, with the vintage that you and I have,
how many nukes are you worth, cut?
Corporations adapt. What we're seeing here, every sector in their own way.
And it's
some
like
fail.
again, cut. Who do you think has
now,
been doing this shit longer, man?
Pepsi challenge, whatever. But Omar,
this is my shit, y'all. Like, where you're
corporation's ability to amend and adapt and execute, correct?
perception
Well, you know, and I think in this particular
of this
part,
cannot compare to mine.
Underestimated the
It can't.
sensitivity of
Because yours is based off
you know,
of what I've made it.
financial health relative to changes in interest rates. I think because of the COVID component, corporations became incredibly, you know,
We were talking about the hologram earlier.
getting amounts of cash.
Your perception is of this hologram.
And that has seemed to be continued to be deployed. The deployment of cash by corporations has been
That I put in front of you,
over the last several years, and that, you know, is basically, to your point, adapts
Your perception of this hologram.
next. So anything that happened in substance of economics, you know, seems to be going well. The other piece that has been great for corporations lately is the fact that consumers
I only bought 4 shares.
and as long as we continue to see that
Should have
level of
bought more.
consumption and productivity, you know, those are really good tailwinds for the health of corporations.
So what are you suggesting to clients to buy and
Almost a
sell?
4 for $2 piece.
Well, you know, one area that I would want to point out, because we discussed this in your program and in other areas, is that, you know, the
When I buy stuff,
start moving into cyclical sectors, and I think
whatever I
cyclicals,
can
you know,
afford.
continue to do well. We continue to think that any event
And
going
then,
to the
alright,
next
when I
phase,
worked at Target,
most
right,
likely, given that interest rates are
I
coming
would
down,
look at, you know, what are we stocking a lot of?
take the lead,
This is
is
why I work
probably gonna be
retail.
there. And in one particular area,
It's like
that
what's
hasn't
going on the shelves,
as
what's coming off the
profitable as
shelves.
timing-wise,
People buy a lot of
looking at
bleach. They buy a lot of
small
cleaner.
caps.
Cause
You know, the profitability
they like
of a small
like
cap, you
they'll buy a
the world
crazy
of small
amount
cap,
of
you
like
know,
game
the
and
ones that
stuff,
are
right?
higher quality with good profits,
I'm like, who's going into Costco to buy laundry detergent? And apparently, it's a lot of people.
which is an area where allows us to
Lots of people go there and they buy that because we'll be stocking that shit every fucking
Omar,
day.
thank you so much. Omar Aguilar.
It'll be on
was
end caps and
greatly
everything.
appreciated with Charles Schwab today.
And I'm
you
like,
know,
they don't
sustaining
sell enough.
3 years. I mean, Jess Benton's looking
me,
at 3
but,
minutes.
you know.
Can we get to the afternoon? What will the stock
People
be
will
on
be like,
Thursday
they can't
after
put
the
that
inflation
somewhere or it's too
report?
heavy
Some
for
of us,
them.
like
Blah,
Omar
blah,
and
blah.
I, are trying to get out to long-term investment like November. We'll have to see on that. So futures up 22.
They sell it.
With our news in New York City, Michael
So
Barr.
Target stock
Tom, Jess,
reflected.
John, leave now.
Then
That's
they
the word from
introduce
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis today as Hurricane
this,
Milton takes aim
this
at the
delivery
state's
thing.
Gulf Coast. DeSantis warning
value
Milton,
goes
due
up.
to make landfall late tomorrow, will bring hurricane-force winds to Florida's east coast as well.
Now's the time to execute your plan.
Peninsula.
You do have time to get to a shelter. Time to evacuate further than that, if that's what you want.
trees
But
in
that
the cut.
time is.
Ooh. Whoa.
Never seen 2 major hurricanes impact the same area in under 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was trying to find something else too that was relatable, but it's such a small
about
window.
it's just
And also the
normal.
complicated part is that Helene didn't make landfall is where you are near Madera Beach in through Pinellas County, but
Right.
it certainly had direct impact nonetheless. So
Yeah, about
it's just
that
yeah,
impact.
it's wild, Mike. You know, appreciate that perspective as we continue to see another dump truck right there going behind
Y'all
you,
like,
and that urgency.
why y'all so stupid about this? I don't understand. You did this, cuz. Who else is going through this shit?
Good for them. Good for them. Working hard.
They're needed.
They're-
They're
yeah,
needed. Yeah. We're running against the
Nobody
clock.
else is like, oh,
Potential impacts. Impacts. That's what we're continuing with. That's what we're dealing with in Florida.
Nobody
What we
else.
will be seeing, and the current look of this hurricane, a Category
fucked up.
4,
You
it
fucked
is
up.
a strong, destructive one. Has the attention even of the World Meteorological
too
Organization, and we see and consider what this thing could deal
And you'll get
to
another
Florida.
one.
It's going to be one to remember, but it's going to be that broader, bigger storyline of how Helene, and then right after Helene, we have Milton. Impacts are going to be far-reaching. We can almost
with
go
the
without saying that
bird.
because you know that. It's really the details that we've been parsing out. When we consider where we're going to see the worst impacts, we now have the east coast of Florida at play. The National Hurricane Center with the latest advisory issuing hurricane warnings for coastal Florida, at least the Atlantic-facing beaches. We have hurricane warnings now in effect for Orlando. We have storm surge warnings also that extend for a portion of the east coast of Florida. So ready, set, go, Marissa. When it comes to where you evacuate, you either head south out of Tampa. I wouldn't really want to or advise going east. Now, going east will keep you from the storm surge, but
this
you'll
is
probably
like
still
some
deal with
group
the the widespread power outages, the hurricane force winds that we're expecting over Orlando, all a possibility.
It's all about which direction can you go, and to be quite honest, I would advise people to go into portions of the Panhandle, Panama City, if they really needed to get away. You don't have to jump on a plane to evacuate. And I was looking, somebody, an official out of Florida saying, if you don't need to evacuate and you have a safe location, stay there. Because what's going to happen is you're going to fill the roads and take up from people that actually are in a mandatory evacuation. Obviously, you need to do what's ever best for you and your family, but things to consider, right? You talk about the wind, Stephen. I mean, when we look at Milton as it gets closer to the coast, it is anticipated to encounter that shear and weaken and broaden out, right? So you extend how far those tropical storm force winds will be, which I think right now they extend about 80 miles out.
Nigga, back to back.
Double that. So that's what you're looking at through the overnight hours. Yeah, I mean, right now this is a Fox model, right? So you're looking at
back hurricane bowl champions
over Tampa Bay.
Very close. And keep in mind, when we look at evacuations, we talk about it as one of the reasons why people who have the means to evacuate, just a shelter, an emergency shelter, which in Hillsborough County, there's at least 9 shelters open, and there are much more. You can go to floridadisaster.org, and to get there, if you don't have the means to get there, the Florida Division of Emergency Management, they partnered with Uber yet again. Use the promo code Milton Relief. And these are free rides that Floridians in evacuation zones will get to and from shelters. It's that promo code Milton Relief. So it doesn't matter the price.
Remember that, and also the governor saying every county should have at least one shelter that allows you to bring pets. I know that's also a concern. All really important information as we really get down to the wire.
Yeah, going to happen early Thursday morning. Well, as Milton moves closer to Florida, that opportunity to evacuate, it's going to soon be closing. Today is the last day before Milton becomes a major deal for Floridians. People living in Hillsborough County, they've been filling up sandbags
already cut.
It's where Tampa sits, Hillsborough County, issuing a mandatory evacuation for zones A and B. Always say, know your zones, because in times like this, you know to leave if it's A or B. And it's a county-wide evacuation for people who live in a mobile or manufactured home, because it's not going to be surge that could be the problem.
Getting paid for this shit to help people.
There are, as I mentioned, at least 9
getting paid. I don't know what this sandbag shit that you're talking about. Like, nigga, you should have been gone. Fuck the sandbags. Just leave. Leave immediately.
Energy and
fuck
more.
Sandbags. We ain't boarding shit up, nigga.
Around the clock at Interactive Brokers.
Yeah, the insurance ain't gonna cover this.
PepsiCo
Just
shares
a
lower
complete
pre-market.
loss.
They lowered their sales outlook for the year due in part to squeezed consumers. And the rising geopolitical tensions in the Mideast have sent oil prices surging. On the other hand, analysts watching to see whether OPEC Plus member countries
shit. You don't have the right insurance.
And this morning, potential benchmark below 80, 78.63 a barrel.
You live in a hurricane area, and you don't have the hurricane insurance.
Not often you can call a nearly 6% rally in the CSI 300 on record daily volume a letdown. Yet investors came away with a tinge of disappointment after China's stocks failed to sustain the huge jump witnessed in the opening minutes of trading. DocuSign shares rising as much as 7% pre-market. S&P Dow Jones Indices said the e-signature company is going to join the S&P Midcap 400 Index before trading opens October 11th. And Hindenburg Research short Roblox, the firm says in a post on X this morning. Roblox is down 8% in pre-market trading in New York. Dow futures up 55, S&P futures up 24. The Nasdaq
y'all are okay with people putting chips in your brains? Like, hell nah, nigga. I'm not fucking with y'all.
I'm John Tucker. That's your Bloomberg Business Flash. Jess and Tom.
I've been doing plenty shit about it, so you don't get a fucking chip in your brain.
It's not a Mag 7 stock,
you little bitch.
It is not a Mag 7 stock.
But yeah, that's not normal, huh?
Moving here, and also
you don't hear me talking about putting a fucking chip in your brain.
8%, but of course that Hindenburg Research short calls right now.
Think about that shit.
And this is a joy. We're going to go to James Diamond.
I'd never be like, yeah,
Lisa Bramowitz.
Why would I want to do that?
We'll have that for you in about 12 minutes. We're looking for Jamie Diamond. again with Lisa. But right
Talk
now,
about
this is
doing
a
some
really
pretty wild
important
shit
conversation.
or scaled.
And I mean,
I don't think
Barry
anything that
Rhodes
I've
is a public
ever
good.
talked
He's out
about
on, the social media and all
was
that.
more
He's always
like
on the
just,
Twitter.
He's on the Twitter, but he's doing his work, like actually trying to not lose money at Ritzels Wealth Management. He's got a podcast
best
as
way
well.
to explain it to
Barry,
you,
let me
'cause you're
read you a
willing to have a
tweet here.
fucking chip put in your brain.
I basically thought it was a scam until decided to give it a try with just a little startup of $1,000, and I got $16,500 in just 7 days. It's so good.
Alright, think about the shit those doctors were doing. They were giving them niggas all that LSD, and it's like, well, here's the motherfucker that wants to put a chip in your brain.
Investment you can't miss.
Nah, these doctors, they'll give you as much fucking LSD as you want, but this nigga wants to put a chip in your brain.
Well,
like,
why? We've seen this, and it really came to the fore during the pandemic when everybody was stuck at home and couldn't do anything and had some stimulus money in their pockets.
Serves no purpose.
Where we rob banks because that's where the money
They
is,
have
and
the people
social media seems to be where all the grifters go to scam people, and you would think, given technology
just
and
to like go to work.
artificial intelligence, this arms race should be relatively easy for an entity like Twitter or Facebook
that your
to
work
manage,
is, because
but
you'll be
there's an
like all over the
incredible
fucking
amount
facility and your
of
fingerprints
fraud
are everywhere. Cuz what
that
are you talking about?
suckers,
When I
lots
think
and
about
lots
the
of
idea
investors,
that you're like, yeah, I got this
family
shit, this implant in my arm.
seniors who are not that good with computers
Like,
or
I could just
technology,
go to your
it's
front
about
door
$8
and like get
billion
your
a year
fingerprints right
in
there. What do you mean?
theft,
What you talking about, cuz? I can go to like the handle of your car door or anything that you touch. Like the handle to your apartment, cuz, and just like, hey, your fingerprints are mine. Well, if it's like you got the chip in your arm, let me get your fingerprints, cuz. You don't want that.
Changing lives. Thank you.
Because I like, when I got that job at Giant,
investments on
they're like, they want my fingerprint. I'm like, okay, well, here's a pinky, and they like, the employee there forces my hand, my finger, onto the fingerprint scanner.
Beware
like,
and listen to Barry Ritholtz. Pick it up, Jess.
My cell phone in my pocket
you
says,
right before you joined us on the program,
I didn't
you're
put my
talking
hand
about how
up
you're
there.
disagreeing
You
with the
did that.
assessment that the latest jobs report for September was
you
gangbusters.
need my
Walk us through what you're
fingerprint,
seeing as
'cause
far as when you're looking over the last few years and the
this
kind
is
of what
some
we're seeing with the
fingerprint
monthly
level
average
job.
gains here and how that's differing.
So I had to get the fuck
this
out
is
of
a
there
classic
before they did that
example of
boar's head
denominator
shit.
blindness. And what that means is we see a big number. Ooh, 254,000. Ooh, that's a scary number.
Oh my god, no.
It's 254,000
you like
out of
to work at the
160
deli.
million
You
people.
do. You have to go through
Each month, about 2 million people
some actual
change
training.
jobs,
You have to sit through these
retire,
lessons
quit,
and go
whatever.
through this training,
And another
and
2
you get
million
certifications
people
along the
enter the
way.
labor force, graduate school, start a new job, and the
Where I'm
monthly
certified
number
to
is
handle
the net
food.
difference between those two things. We don't care. I don't care about whatever that number is. I care about the
Where you
overall
might have to take a couple
Are we
classes,
creating
and for me,
jobs
it's
on a
just like, nah,
sustainable
straight
basis?
to
Is
it.
that expanding? And
That's
as
why I
we've
got the
seen
job,
since
because I'm like,
2020,
yeah,
lots of
they're like, get as many as you
But
can.
just look at a chart going back to January 2021. It's pretty obvious
I got a couple
that
of
the
them,
pace
cuz.
of job creation is
Food
cooling,
allergy
and I
shit.
think that's one of several things
And this and
that
that,
has
and like the
finally,
temperatures.
belatedly caught the
food has to
attention
be
of the Federal
cooked
Reserve.
to-
We're not doing 900,000, 600,000, 800,000, 500,000 like
It's
we
like,
did
on the
in
job, they're
2022.
like not
We're
handling
dropping to, 150,
food to the
200,000
degree.
jobs a month, which is fine.
This is
but
what I
it's
learned,
an
where they
early
try and
warning
offset
that
it.
The once red-hot labor
The
market
real
is
issue,
cooling,
I couldn't
and the
stay
Fed is
there
noticing.
because
We
they
welcome
don't
all
have
the
health insurance,
Nation.
man.
Barry Ritholtz with us here.
I can't be like, oh, there's going to be
It's an
some.
extensive conversation.
I don't even, they don't
20,
like
30, 40
recall.
minutes with people in investment, people in the
Can't
business
do
of how
that.
not to lose
Or
money. Look
they'll
for that
say you
podcast,
should,
Masters
like,
of Business at Bloomberg. We welcome
destroying
on
it.
YouTube.
I guess they should like come and
Subscribe to
collect the
YouTube
shit, huh?
podcast coming up. Lisa Abramowitz with James Diamond. Jess?
And one thing I wanted to point out, because Goldman Sachs was talking about in those annual revisions that we saw in the labor market data a few weeks ago that it wasn't including up to 1 million of undocumented workers here. So is there any way we're still underestimating
you can't
the strength
send
of the
them
US
that
labor
shit.
market,
They need to
Barry?
come collect it.
We went from a situation where we went through a very substantial
It's like
change
waste
in
management
the
because it's
tenor
like
of the labor
raw
market, meaning
food sometimes.
between the huge spike in new business formation,
You saw it where they were like,
and a lot of people taking advantage
with
of
the New York
pandemic to
collection
improve their
shit.
skills, get new certifications, actually get degrees. That small business has been a big driver
Paying
of the
attention
economy,
to what we've been
and
streaming.
a lot of what that surge was in 21 and 22.
Yeah, cuz
was
so they
whole
have a
bunch of
union.
new businesses, whether it's technology or apps or consulting business or whatever
You don't
it
have
was.
any rights as
And
a worker.
So that
That's my
initial
experience
surge,
with this
remember, we
union
put
shit.
about $5.5 trillion
Based on
into the
giant,
economy
where they're
through the
like, yeah,
fiscal
they have a
stimulus,
union.
3 separate CARES Acts, to say nothing about the longer term.
So if you get injured in giant,
that were passed. So
anything
the labor
happens to you,
market is
it's on
still
you, cuz.
fairly healthy, but that red hot
They're not going to
status,
pay
that
your bills if
robust
you get
level
injured.
we saw a few
Nothing.
years ago,
There's no
clearly
health insurance
cool.
program.
Barry, I want to talk about something off script. Maybe you can
You
do an
assume
article on
all
this.
liability.
I just
You
saw
had to
a
have
major
no
mutual fund.
established-
I guess it was 4-star, and they just raised it to 5-star at Morningstar. I'm sure champagne was broken out and all that. Barry Ritholtz on the star system at Morningstar.
There's
Can
no
people
healthcare,
do
period.
better at mutual fund and ETF investing
And I'm
based
like,
off the star
hell
system
fucking no, I'm
that's
not
become
working here.
iconic?
So I have to give credit to Morningstar for being very transparent and self-reflective of how their star
cost
system works.
shrinkage.
Back in, I want to say about 10 years ago, they ran an internal analysis, and what does the star system mean for future
surgical shit.
performance? And the results were
Surgical level.
pretty okay. They weren't terrible, they weren't great, they were okay.
It's based on
but
weight.
in Morningstar's own analysis, they said, if we can only look at one data point to make a decision on a mutual fund or an ETF, what would it be? And it turned out that the internal costs of the mutual funds were the single biggest determinant of long-term performance. Not because cheaper funds were inherently higher performers, it's just that the drag of expensive funds pushes them into the bottom half of mutual fund performance. And, I give Morningstar a lot of credit for coming out and saying, hey, our stars are a way for you to find reliable companies that have been fully vetted. You're not just throwing a dart, but be aware of the internal cost structure. The days of 100 or 150 basis point mutual funds, that's history.
I mean, I look at the mutual fund business now, and the whole shift. Eric Balchunas with us over to ETFs. Do you treat an ETF, Barry Ritholtz, as a mutual fund equivalent, just with better liquidity, better tax structure?
You hit the nail on the head with that last thing. It's not an equivalent. It is a superior form of a wrapper for holding some form of an index, whether it's passive or active, in a taxable account, because there are no phantom capital gains taxes. There's no ongoing drag from that. Our friend Dave Noddig, who's one of the foremost ETF experts, has said, if the mutual fund was a new product, he doesn't think it would be approved by the SEC
it's like
because of that
so
drag from
Vegeta.
taxes. Mutual funds are great in
During the Saiyan saga,
IRAs or
before that,
401ks or
before they even show up
403bs,
on
anything
Earth.
that's tax deferred. But in
He,
a
blows up
long-term
that planet with 2
portfolio
fingers.
that is taxable, you're much better off with the equivalent ETF. And most
his
of the
power
big
level
fund
isn't-
companies, from Vanguard to BlackRock to Fidelity to Dimensional Funds, they've all come out
probably not
with
10,000.
corresponding ETFs to match their biggest and best mutual funds. And so investors have a pretty clear choice. In your retirement accounts, hey, mutual funds are fine. In a taxable account, stick with the ETFs.
Barry, I got 1 minute. Barry Ritholtz on Jamie Dimon. I looked up the 10-year annual return the other day. It's basically an act of God, easily 12, 13, even 14% per year for the last 10 years. What's the Dimon distinction for Barry Ritholtz.
So, he was very early in his team was very early in recognizing the risk. A lot of people don't realize this.
When the Goku's like,
JP Morgan Chase cleared out all of
shows
their
up.
subprime mortgages and all of their securitized junk way before the financial crisis hit.
Like,
that could be
power
the
level.
single most important factor in the success of JP Morgan. And Diamond is a modern day version of James Pierpont Morgan of the original
Pulls up
JP
the planet.
Morgan. And
Two fingers,
he just seems to be the best
Right.
banker in
Brought up
America.
a couple of
Barry
planets,
Reynolds,
two
thank you so much. Great brief there, particularly on the danger of what you see out on Twitter. Some of these too good to be true
300
ideas.
to
Mr.
destroy a
Ritholtz
planet.
was Masters of Business and looking for Ritholtz management. I've said this. I've actually said this to Jamie Dimon long ago, but
Context,
I don't
Goku's
think
fighting
people really know Jess Metten. This kid's
one of
kid's path to where he became. I had
one
the
of
honor of speaking to
Bobbity's
Sandy Weil about
light
this.
eating,
Mrs.
star
Weil,
eating
frankly, years
monsters.
ago. Jamie Dimon was from a Shearson
And he's
family.
got to keep his
back
power
when that
level
really meant
low
something.
enough
Went to Browning School
to defend himself, but to not
in New York.
give
Did
Majin
better than
Buu a
good
bunch of
at
energy.
Tufts, like think summa cum laude
Okay.
at Tufts, and then did operational finance for Sanford Wild and American Express.
So he puts on enough power
Then he went out to Bank One in Chicago before they
to destroy like
with,
1,000 planets or
JP
something.
Morgan. I
Where he's
just
like
can't
his
say
power
enough
level is like
about
30,000.
The underestimation of his acuity. In terms of risk management,
There you go.
which Mr.
You know,
Reynolds
it's like the
just
Demon King
discussed
Deborah talking
as
about this shit.
well. So we're going to